What is Mystery Babylon of Revelation 17, the last book of the New Testament, written by the beloved disciple of our Lord Jesus Christ, St. John, the theologian, while he was in exile on the island of Patmos of the Aegean Sea in Greece? What is this Mystery Babylon? Yet another example of something that has to be interpreted. Revelation 17, 1-18, quote, "And there came one of the seven angels, which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will shew unto thee the judgment of the great whore. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness. And I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, capital L, which is of course our Lord Jesus Christ. And the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings. And they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. And the woman which thou sawest is the great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth." End quote. Our first clue is that the Apostle John sees Mystery Babylon in the wilderness, quote unquote. There is no wilderness in heaven, as everything there is alive and well, so it must be on earth. The reason Mystery Babylon is seen on earth is because she is composed of rebel angels, which will have been cast out of heaven in Revelation 12, 7-9, at the start of the Great Tribulation, an event which will have occurred 3.5 years earlier. Those angels will have lost their wings and be found on earth in bodies of flesh like men, subject to be killed, as were their brethren when they drowned in the great flood in Noah's day. Genesis 6:4, quote, "There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bore children to them, the same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown." End quote. Jude 1:6, quote, "And the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he hath reserved in everlasting chains under darkness, unto the judgment of the great day." End quote. Matthew 24, 37-39, quote, "But as the days of Noah, there so shall also be coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day of Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be." End quote. After these rebel angels, which comprise Mystery Babylon, get cast out of heaven, they will do as their brethren did at the time of Noah and start chasing women. The reason they are not doing this today is because they saw the severe judgment of being cast into outer darkness, which came upon their brethren. However, they will know that their time is very short when they get cast out of heaven, so they will have their last hooray. Quote, Daniel 2, 1-44, quote, "And the second year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar dreamed dreams, wherein his spirit was troubled, and his sleep brake from him. Then Daniel went in and desired of the king that he would give him time, and that he would show the king the interpretation. There is a God in heaven that revealeth secrets, and maketh known to the king Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in latter days. Thou, O king, sawest, and behold, a great image. This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible. This image's head was of fine gold, his breast and his arms of silver, his belly and his thighs of brass, his legs of iron, his feet part of iron and part of clay. Thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon his feet. that were of iron and clay, and brake them into pieces. Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken to pieces together, and became like the chaff of the summer threshing floors, and the wind carried them away, that no place was found for them. And the stone that smote the image became a great mountain, and filled the whole earth. This is the dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof before the king. Thou, O king, art the king of kings, for the God of heaven hath given thee a kingdom, Babylon, power and strength and glory. And wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the earth hath he given into thine hand, and hath made thee ruler over them all. Thou art his head of gold. And after thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee, Medo-Persian Empire, and another third kingdom of brass, Greece, which shall bear rule over all the earth. And the fourth kingdom, Rome, shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh into pieces and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all these shall it break into pieces and bruise. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay, fallen angels with the iron-based metabolism don't mix too well with men who are made of clay. And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever." End quote. The current situation in the created third heaven is that the dragon and his rebel angels are still there, exerting their powerful spiritual influence on the earth's inhabitants. 1 John 2:16, quote, "For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life, is not of the Father, but is of the world." End quote. We could say that the third heaven is inhabited by reptiles and Anunnaki, which is why God has not prepared mansions for the 12 apostles yet, because it's still contaminated. John 14:2, quote, "In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you." End quote. But God has not done that yet, not until he clears the created third heaven. Revelation 12:9, quote, "And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil, and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He has cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him." End quote. Jesus Christ will not prepare a place for his 12 apostles in the created third heaven until he has decontaminated it. That's why it will later be called the New Jerusalem, quote unquote, after the reptiles are gone and it has been destroyed and created anew, as follows. Revelation 20:11, quote, "And I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, from whose face the earth and the heaven fled away, and there was found no place for them." End quote. Revelation 21:1-2, quote, "And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband." End quote. By the way, the reason the dragon can be chained with a great chain in Revelation 20:1-2 is due to the fact that he and his angels had been cast out of heaven 3.5 years earlier, lost their wings, and took on bodies of flesh as men. Note, a body of flesh can be chained. We know from Hebrews 12:22 that there is, quote, "a heavenly Jerusalem," end quote, as follows, quote, "But ye are come unto Mount Zion, and unto the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem, and to an innumerable company of angels," end quote. She is the counterpart to earthly Jerusalem, which is composed of Jews of national Israel, as we see in Matthew 23:37 as follows. O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, thou that killest the prophets and stonest them which are sent to thee, how often would I have gathered thy children together, even as a hen gathereth her chickens under her wings, and ye would not. End quote. Heavenly Jerusalem is composed of God's holy angels, who are also called flames of fire, as follows in Hebrews 1:7. Quote, and of the angels he saith, who maketh his angels spirits, and his ministers a flame of fire. They are the building blocks or stones of heavenly Jerusalem. End quote. The 12 apostles, along with other believing Jews, will replace the rebel reptile stones, which are currently part of heavenly Jerusalem, when the dragon and his angels are cast out. 1 Peter 2:5, quote, ye also, as living stones, are built up a spiritual house, a holy priesthood, to offer up spiritual sacrifices acceptable to God by Jesus Christ. End quote. This also answers who the stones of fire are of Ezekiel 28:14 as follows, quote, thou art the anointed cherub that covereth, and I have set thee so. Thou wast upon the holy mount of God. Thou hast walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. End quote. Apparently, believing Jews will be resurrected as angels, building blocks or stones of fire, to replace the current rebel stones, which will make heavenly Jerusalem new. However, that won't happen until we enter the era of the end time, after Gentile members of the church today, who are members of the actual personal body of Christ Jesus, have departed. Matthew 22:29-30 says, quote, Jesus answered and said unto them, ye do err, not knowing the Scriptures, nor the power of God. For in the resurrection they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are as angels of God in heaven. End quote. The reason we say Gentile members of the church today is because Jews who wish to believe in Jesus Christ as head of the body cannot come to him as a deserving Jew, citing either the old or new covenants, but must come as worthless Gentile, the way everyone else does, just as they are, without one plea. Jews of national Israel, as well as Jews who believe in Jesus Christ as their Messiah, have a wonderful future in the created new heaven and earth, but members of the church today have an eternal home from far above all heavens, in the secret place of the Most High, in the uncreated heaven, the one that was here before the foundation of the world. Just as earthly Jerusalem has a counterpart in the created third heaven, so also the earthly city of Babylon has a counterpart in the created third heaven, which is composed of the devil and his rebel angels. In other words, the main part of the created third heaven consists of heavenly Jerusalem, which is made up of angels who serve as stones of fire, quote unquote. They are stones because they are the structure, and fire because they are sons of God, who is consuming fire. Hebrews 12:29, quote, for our God is a consuming fire, end quote. Among these stones of fire which compose the heavenly city of Jerusalem are the devil and his rebel angels, which collectively make up the heavenly counterpart of Babylon on earth and are called Mystery Babylon, quote unquote. However, when they are cast out of heaven in the middle of the 70th week of Daniel, we find them in the wilderness on earth, along with their earthly counterpart of the material city of Babylon. Fallen angels could be what the ancients referred to as Anunnaki, as they have been on earth before and will be again the Nephilim. They are all far more powerful and more intelligent than humans, as having sex with human females produce giants. Their technology also is far beyond ours, but God restricts their activities. There's evidence that others who worked with the Anunnaki, which may account for their marvelous inventions during World War II. However, the superior power of believing members of our army defeated them without even knowing how or why. The Anunnaki only present a threat to unbelievers, as God can easily override their superior power through his word working in us. There's a popular story about a U.S. Army battalion on the front lines in World War II, where the commanding officer advised his men to quote Psalm 91:1 daily as follows, Psalm 91:1, quote, He hath dwelt in the secret place of the Most High. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty, end quote. It said that not one man in the battalion lost his life, although some were wounded. Okay? He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Isn't that beautiful? Of course, Psalm 91:1 is about Jesus Christ on earth, as he alone dwells in the secret place of the Most High, except for his body of the church today, which dwells with him there in spirit already, and later in person. This is where our protection today comes from, as we are technically senior to every evil spirit, heavenly angel, or Anunnaki, and they know it whether or not we do. In the recent past, some tested nuclear weapons in South Africa without taking proper precautions. Good angels, seen zooming around in flying saucers, cleaned it up before any real harm was done. Therefore, not all unidentified flying objects are bad, as some are here to help us. The bottom line is that God remains in precision control at all times. And this is the author's comment posted on Mike Baker's website some 20 years ago. This is now in earthly Babylon, the same city from which Nebuchadnezzar ruled circa BC 606, when the times of the Gentiles began. Revelation chapter 18 describes its final destruction, which will also occur simultaneously with the 7 trumpets and 7 vials on the day of the Lord at his second advent, when the times of the Gentiles will end. In Revelation 18:4, we see God warning Jews to depart the city as follows, quote, And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues, end quote. As we've already covered in past articles, Babylon was a thriving metropolis in 61 AD, with 3 Jewish universities which were built by Jews who remained in the city after their 70 years captivity ended about 536 BC. Also, the Apostle Peter visited the city about 63 AD as follows. 1 Peter 5:13, quote, The church that is at Babylon, elected together with you, saluteth you, and so doth Marcus my son, end quote. Therefore, when Jesus Christ returns in the generation in which he said he would, to wit, circa 61 AD, then the Jewish temple, the real nation of Israel, the original Roman Empire, and the city of Babylon will all be present and ready for God's end-time judgment. The current way this is taught in churches worldwide is indeed a case of a bended reality. Now, in summary, we see that Mystery Babylon Revelation chapter 17 is simply the heavenly counterpart of earthly Babylon Revelation chapter 18, and both will be destroyed, which may account for the biblical phrase, Babylon is fallen, in Revelation 18:2, quote, And he cried mightily with a strong voice, an angel that is, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird, end quote. One additional item we may learn from this is that the devil and his angels are presently at home in the created third heaven and not in hell, because they have not been cast out of heaven yet, which is another example of a bended reality. A normal abode of evil spirits is the deep or abyss or bottomless pit, which is part of hell, but they are not allowed in the created third heaven, which is the center of what we might call white-collar crime or sin. In fact, virtually everything presented here exhibits the bended reality by churches worldwide, but this does not mean other interpretations are necessarily inaccurate, as we believe the work of Dave Hunt. I have a lot of his books, he's great, and a few others. Dave Hunt, by the way, was an atheist until he started examining the Holy Bible, and then he became a devout Christian. Now, the works of Dave Hunt, a few of others are spectacular. It all depends upon which angle the data is viewed from. So I'll leave a link below for you. This is by Roger Connor, U.S. Navy pilot retired, on bended reality. And I hope this helps. This is fascinating. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support, and God bless you. Kindly support my Patreon account, the daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.